And welcome to the Variety Show here on the Watchdog. This is Butch Maxwell in for Bill DeFabio today and tomorrow. As Bill goes off to parts unknown, I'm happy to be here. Get to sit in the chair every so often. How you doing, Lola?
Really well, Butch. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm glad to be here. Early May 6th. Okay, so it's what would that be? Cinco Siesta. Is it? What's six in Spanish? I don't know.
Six. I don't know.
Yeah. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, seis de mayo, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, but it's it's kind of cold. It's kind of like not May weather yet. Really, sort of more Aprilish. I don't know. In the mid 50s. It's going to be this way for the next, week or so, something like that. You know, we're going to have highs in the mid 50s and lows, sometimes even into the upper 30s. So I don't know if you've got plants outside, you might need to bring them in. Just keep things, be careful about stuff like that. My rhododendron are beginning to bloom. I've got rhododendron, and they're starting to show signs of spring, and it's a beautiful time of year. I just love this time of year, and it's pretty exciting. And one of the best things about 2021 so far has been I have not felt compelled to watch the news just for the next horrible thing to happen.
I know. Late night has gotten very boring.
Yeah, it has. And I'll take that. That's fine with me. I remember in 2014 and 2015, some of the late night comedians were saying, "Oh, come on, Trump, run! This will be so much fun. We'll just have so much fun with this." And I'm sure they regretted that.
Was fodder.
Yeah, well, it was interesting anyway. It gave them fodder. You're right. But I have a number of things I'd like to talk about. I've got 0 guests today. It's just it's kind of challenging to get guests in the middle of the day. I may have some tomorrow, but I've got a lot to talk about. So I think it's just going to be you and me, Lola, talking for the next couple of hours. Is that good?
Yes.
Can we do
yes,
that? Yeah.
Yes.
Right. We'll try to keep it in the spirit of variety. We probably won't talk sports quite as much as Bill DeFabio does, but then who does talk about sports as much as Bill DeFabio does?
True.
But we will talk about some other things. Among the items on my agenda are I want to talk about the lumber crunch. And maybe I'm just especially aware of this because I've been doing some home improvements. Well, actually, I've been hiring people to do some home improvements. Let me put it that way. I've been doing some myself, but I'm just I'm a little challenged in that department. So I do painting and things like that. But the price of lumber has gone way up. So I do want to talk about that. And Peloton has recalled a whole lot of their exercise bikes, which have become very popular. Liz Cheney's fall from grace within the Republican Party. So, we'll talk a little bit about politics, talk about what the implications are for the Republican Party going forward. I think that's kind of a fascinating thing. And in fact, I think I may talk about with a guest tomorrow. I'm considering who I can get to bring in an expert and talk about that a little bit too. There's also, just breaking today, a U.S. judge threw out the pandemic-related moratorium on evicting renters, and that sounds like something that's it should certainly be worth talking about. And there's definitely this is a two-sided issue. This isn't just. I think a lot of us might immediately think, our sympathies are with renters and those evil landlords throwing people out. But there is another side to this too, in that people who own property generally have mortgages and they have to pay for that. And I'm not sure they've got mortgage relief for any of that. So, this isn't just an issue that is just really easy to make up your mind on or anything. And so that is another thing we could talk about. And theaters are coming back.
Yes.
Yeah, and so we're going to talk about some of the things that are happening as away as New York City, but also as close as Wheeling, West Virginia.
Yes.
We've also got a couple of items of local entertainment that are coming up this week, and Trump is still banned from Facebook, at least for now, anyway. So I've thrown out a whole lot of things here, and I'm eager to talk about those or anything else. If you want to call in, you're certainly welcome to do that. That's 304-214-1600 is the regular number. And is there an 800 number too? Do we have one of those things?
866
866
something.
All right, yeah, we're gonna get on that. No, that's fine. Actually, these days I don't know how much 800 numbers are really necessary because everybody calls from cell phones and it's all the same.
That's why I don't remember what it is.
Right? Yeah, we don't even promote that much anymore. So those are the best ways to communicate. Just call in 304-214-1600 and we can talk about it. Okay, item one, the lumber crunch. I don't know. Have you had any occasion to buy wood lately?
Well, I've had occasion to need it.
Mm-hmm.
And this was back in the early days of the pandemic.
Right.
I needed my back porch steps fixed.
Yeah.
And
Had a crack in it or something.
They couldn't get what we needed. So it's fixed, but it's not,
Yeah.
And then we wanted to get our porch, get a quote and all that kind of stuff on getting our porch redone.
Right.
I am not even going to bother because the cost of lumber is so high.
It is. It's
that
crazy.
we could redo the whole house
Yeah.
for what it would cost to do the front porch.
Yeah,
So I just want to wait on it.
I have exactly the same thing. My parents have both died in the past 4 years, and my dad died last year, and so leaving me and my brothers and sisters with a house to deal with, and so we've decided that we're just going to try to fix up the house and put it up for sale. And among the things that really probably needs to be done is a porch redecking. And I looked at the price and it came up with the same thing. You know what? It'd be a good thing. It would, make the house a little more appealing, but it's not. I'm not going to get the money out of it. So, let somebody else deal with that if they want to. There's actually a housing shortage all over America that could threaten economic growth. But actually, the simplest solution, which would be to build more houses, hasn't ever been more complicated. And the main reason is because of lumber. There simply isn't enough of it to feed the red-hot housing market and the home improvement market. Because since COVID, people have been home a lot, and they're looking, I should really fix that thing. Now I've got time and all that, and it's just not working out. More than a year ago, sawmills shut down lumber production as COVID gripped the country. A housing slump looked imminent. Historically, home buying stalls in a recession, but that didn't happen in 2020. In fact, there was kind of a home buying frenzy too. People who were able to remain employed and work remotely found themselves craving some more space, either in the form of a new home or in a renovation, all of which requires lumber. So the shortage, though, may even have deeper roots than that, because back in the mid-2000s, the housing market was very oversupplied. That was back when the bubble popped. Remember the bubble popped around 2007 and 8? New construction then catered to the marketplace. That's what we do in a market economy. So countless sawmills actually went out of business back in 2007, 8, 9, right around there, and it left the industry totally unprepared for the surge that has happened about 10 years later. It's gotten bad enough that lumber is being stolen from construction sites, and prices are getting passed on to the consumer. Surging lumber prices alone have pushed past the price of average new single-family home by about $36,000 is how much the lumber has increased the price of buying a home. I had a friend who built a home like 2 years ago, and he must be feeling pretty good about his decision to do it then rather than in the past year or so. This is translating even to renters. The lumber prices added nearly $12,000 to the market value of an average newly built multifamily home. And that translates to households paying an extra $119 a month to rent a new apartment. Now, we're talking new structures here, but it has its implications. The home building industry is urging President Biden to temporarily remove the 9% tariff on Canadian lumber, which was a holdover from the Trump administration, and that would help ease price volatility. The lumber shortage is just the latest example of how rapid economic recovery from a pandemic is pushing supply chains to the limit. So it's kind of good news and bad news all put together. Manufacturers are desperate for workers. A global chip shortage is delaying the production of cars and appliances, and a lack of tanker truck drivers has raised the specter of gas stations running on empty this summer. So a suddenly booming economy could actually be kind of a pain for us going forward. We may
A huge bust.
yeah, we may have to. I neglected to tell you. Do we need mid breaks?
Not this time,
Not this time, because we have the long break in the beginning. Okay, yeah. There's some inside the Beltway banter for you guys. How does this radio stuff work? But I think that's fascinating. Anybody out there who's involved in a building project, who's amazed at this, who wants to call and comment? I'm not going to beg you, but I'm going to invite you. 304-214-1600. We can talk about it. How about this? President Trump has been banned from Facebook, and he's been banned from Twitter, and it's been gloriously quiet since about January 9th or so.
I know.
Yeah, and earlier today, Facebook decided they were going to review whether or not Donald Trump was allowed to rejoin Facebook. Now, he did post things on Facebook, but it really was his Twitter account that was most controversial, and that was not up for review. They're two separate companies, Facebook and Twitter, but Facebook owns Instagram, and they're huge. So it decided today, an independent panel decided today, that was appointed by Facebook. So, this independent panel appointed by Facebook, take from that what you want. But they decided that they were going to continue his suspension, at least for now. Twitter has said, he's banned for life. So I don't know whether they're going to hold with that or not, but we'll see. And the problem is really pretty simple. In case you haven't noticed, Donald Trump lies all the time. He lies constantly. He can't help himself. That's why his attorneys won't let him go in front of to testify, because he will perjure himself. He will lie. He arguably doesn't even know that he's lying. I think that it's such a habit with him. He's a liar. And what happens is it's not illegal to lie, and it's protected speech. One can lie. But when one is a president, then that has, big problems. When your president is a liar, and he insists on making false statements. He's called out on it. He continues to lie. He doubles down on it. Reality doesn't have anything to do with what Donald Trump likes to post on social media. So his lies about the 2020 election are the clearest example. They've led to tens of millions of people to believe a made-up story about how Joe Biden won. That Joe Biden won through fraud, and there's just no evidence to back that up. If you have evidence, please call 304-214-1600. We'll take a look at it. But no, nobody has found any evidence of massive fraud. And yet he continues to say this. And so, Facebook and Twitter are not going to give him a platform to continue to lie. And what has happened, of course, in the Republican Party is they're trying to decide, what does the Republican Party look like going forward after a substantial loss in 2020? Well, it looks a lot like it's still the party of Trump. I guess they didn't notice that Trump lost by millions of votes.
Well, that's because they don't acknowledge
They don't acknowledge it, right? And so anybody, say like a Liz Cheney or Mitt Romney, who stand by their principles, who take a principled stand against the Trump, against things like the insurrection and the big lie that Biden did not win the election. They're standing up saying, come on, let's face it, let's take it on the chin and go on, like everybody else has done for 200 and plus years in this country after an election. You lose, oh man, that sucks, that hurts. But, we go on, we recognize the truth of it and we go on. And, so when we have a president who is the ultimate sore loser and liar on top of that, and getting so many people behind him to believe in it, it's just amazing to see how the Republican Party is unable to right itself, and what's going to happen after this. Liz Cheney looks as though she's going to lose her job in leadership in the House, and it's all based on this failure to get in line. And the old adage about one of the differences between Democrats and Republicans when they put up a candidate, say for a major, like an office like a president, is that Democrats have to fall in love, but Republicans just fall in line. You obey, you follow the rules. And so right now, it's they still want to. They want to get behind their loser.
What's sad is humanity never seems to learn from lessons past.
Yeah.
And all of this is just hearkening back to other times when it's my way or the highway. We will get rid of you come hell or high water if you don't fall in line with exactly what we say.
Right.
Right or wrong, doesn't matter. If you don't follow what we say, then you're gone.
Isn't that the very definition of authoritarianism? What you're talking about here? Okay, so how is that consistent with the Republican philosophy of fierce independence? You don't tell me what to do. Don't tread on me. You can take my guns out of my,
Cold dead hands.
Yeah, cold dead hands. So how is that blind, subservience to authority? How is that consistent with that philosophy? My Republican father and mother are turning over in their graves right now. I know it. With that, I think maybe we should take our first break of this 2-hour tour and come back because we'll talk more. And we are waiting on your phone call. So go ahead and think about it. And as soon as I provoke you, you can give me a call. All right, you're listening to Butch Maxwell guest hosting here for Bill DeFabio on the Variety Show here on the Watchdog Network.
The Metro News Update is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
West Virginia Metro News, I'm Chris Lawrence. Tragedy in the northern panhandle where a toddler has drowned. Authorities say the 2-year-old had been reported missing around 5:30 Wednesday evening in Marshall County and was later on found in Big Wheeling Creek. Emergency crews pulled the child from the water and attempted life-saving maneuvers. The child, however, was pronounced dead at Wheeling Hospital. The Marshall County Sheriff's Department now investigating. In Mingo County, the Williamson Volunteer Fire Department reports divers from their department made a discovery in what's believed to be the weapon from a murder last year that was followed by an arson. Working with Williamson police, firefighter dive teams recovered a hammer from Laurel Lake that they think was used to kill John Jackson. at an apartment in Williamson May 16th of 2020. Last month, 3 were indicted by the Mingo County grand jury for murder, arson, and other charges. Investigators say the group killed Jackson, then set fire to his apartment to cover their tracks. 2 members of the Williamson Fire Department were injured battling that blaze. U.S. Senators Shelley Moore Capito and Joe Manchin were on hand in Fayette County to unveil the new sign that designates the New River Gorge National Park and Preserve. And Capito says that redesignation's already paying off.
Whether they're in the hospitality business or outdoor tourism, say their numbers are way up. There's way more visitation at the park, just what we thought.
That package that changed the designation was approved in December. You're listening to Metro News, the voice of West Virginia. Orioles pitcher and WVU grad John Means making baseball history with a complete game no-hitter.
Special. It's pretty crazy. I hope it, lets every kid coming up knowing that, anybody can do it. I was on my way out in minor leagues and figure out a way to make, a living out of this. And
Means became the first WVU product to throw a no-hitter with 12 strikeouts, no walks. From the Metro News Anchor Desk, I'm Chris Lawrence.
For all of your IT needs, visit OmniPerforms.com. Omni Strategic Technologies, the only IT company that the watchdog trusts.
Washington County's largest gun show is back on Saturday and Sunday, June 19th and 20th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Washington County Fairgrounds. Admission is $7, and kids under 12 get in free with an adult. Everyone is welcome. They offer free appraisals and have great prices on all types of firearms, modern, military, and antique. They have over 450 tables with cash buyers on site for your used guns. Visit arhsportshop.com, or you can give them a call at 724-948-3571 for more information. That's 724-948-3571 for more information. It's the Washington County Gun Show, presented by ARH Sports Shop, June 19th and 20th.
It's time we put a stop to a few things. Right now, the D.C. establishment has all the power. The For the People Act will stop that. Billionaires buying West Virginia's elections, the For the People Act will stop that. Politicians and their families getting rich while we pay for it? Yep. The For the People Act will stop that too. Senator Manchin, you've always had West Virginia's back. Don't stop now. Stop corruption in its tracks and support the For the People Act, paid for by Represent Us. It's time we put a stop to a few things. Americans voting on machines that aren't made in America? The For the People Act will stop that. States using hackable voting machines with no paper trail? The For the People Act will stop that. Elections with no way to do careful audits or recounts by hand? Yep, the For the People Act will stop that too. Senator Manchin, you've always had West Virginia's back. Don't stop now. Stop election interference and support the For the People Act, paid for by Represent Us.
Millions plan for retirement online. Estimate your future benefits, apply for retirement, and manage your benefits all from the comfort of your home. And give yourself the freedom to do what you want offline. Social Security's online services help put you in control with secure access to your information anytime, anywhere, allowing you to spend more time with family, friends, or simply just enjoying the day. Social Security, securing today and tomorrow. See what you can do online at socialsecurity.gov.
Wheeling Coin and Hobby on 10th Street in Wheeling, next to the Bridge Tavern in downtown Wheeling, wants to buy any and all unwanted gold and silver jewelry. They are paying top dollar for 10, 14, 18, and 22 karat gold plus 925 sterling silver. They also want to buy collectible coins and paper money from before 1933. Wheeling Coin and Hobby is open daily from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Monday through Saturday. Coin and Hobby, 304-232-8430, and add them on Facebook.
Now, during the Jim Robinson Ford Lincoln Toyota Pre-Owned Super Sale, select from over 80 vehicles in stock starting under $5,000. Most are local trades, many with one owner. Hurry to Jim Robinson at the Highlands, home of lifetime powertrain protection. Now, during the Jim Robinson Ford Lincoln Toyota Pre-Owned Super Sale, select from over 80 vehicles in stock starting under $5,000. Most are local trades, many with one owner. Hurry to Jim Robinson.
Hi, it's Howard Monroe. Coming up tomorrow on the Watchdog Morning Show, the regular Friday roundtable with newspaper editor John McCabe. He and I will kick around some of the local news of the week, including changes at the Ohio County Development Authority. Vaccinations are turning towards younger demographics in the local area. Wheeling's had us a new fire chief named, and a new fire headquarters is moving ahead. Plus, is Mother's Day a real holiday or just one of those commercially made-up days? This and more in the morning, starting at 7, the Watchdog Morning Show, right here.
That song just makes me feel like it's summertime or something, doesn't it? It's great.
I love it.
Yeah, it's just, and it's coming. Summer's coming. So,
Is it?
Yeah.
Mother Nature may just decide, you know what, these people don't deserve it.
True.
I'm just not.
Or it'll be the summer from hell, just
Well,
really, really hot and muggy. Who knows?
We are going to be inundated with cicadas in the very near future.
Oh, really? We got cicadas again? We just had them a few years ago.
I saw a map on the news this morning, and I didn't think we would get the 17-year here, but the way this map was, from Georgia north, all along the seaboard, with the exception of South Carolina. I don't know how South Carolina is escaping this. And then all the way north and northeast through Michigan, Ohio. I'm not sure about Indiana and Illinois in that way. But yes, we're smack in the middle of this. And
we just had them. I thought they were only allowed to come every 17 years or something.
Well, maybe these are the older relatives. I don't know, but it's like,
oh boy.
Although they claim that they will be gone by July.
Okay.
They don't land. Yeah. I mean, when they come out,
even
they
the
don't
17-year
last.
ones, they're usually gone midsummer. Yeah.
And well, your cat doesn't go outside.
Not unattended. No.
See, mine do. As evidenced by the bird that Percy brought home, or Morris brought home last night, and left on the porch. So I know, they'll be bringing them in the house.
Yeah.
And,
they bring cicadas in the house for you?
They bring everything in the house at some point. I had a cat that always brought me empty cigarette packs. I don't know why. And I've got one
At least bring me one with a cigarette in it, for gosh sake.
Percy fishes. He brings home fish from the river and leaves them on the porch for us.
God.
Well, we'll never go hungry during a zombie apocalypse. We got it covered. But yeah, I'm sure they will.
Yeah.
I found a moth carcass in the bathroom that, honestly, what is that about? 4-5 inches?
Oh, that's you're looking like 7 inches.
That was the wingspan. I mean, this
Oh,
thing
wow.
was massive.
Yeah.
And so, one of them caught it, brought it in, left it as a gift. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, cat. So,
Cats are wonderful for that. Yeah.
yes, they are.
Our cat doesn't really do that though. He's pretty much indoors. Although he does. We occasionally live out in the country, and we occasionally get a mouse in the house, and so he's very good at finding that mouse. Now, he doesn't catch it. He just plays with it. He just runs around and he catches it and then he releases it, and it's like, no, catch it and give it to me so I can, and I can deposit it outside humanely. And then the only thing is I can't, it never works out, and I end up having to trap the mouse, and unfortunately that kills the mouse. And I don't have anything against the mouse except that it terrorizes my wife, and I cannot sleep if she's screaming. So,
That's true. That's true.
oh boy. Well, welcome back, my friends, to the show that does end at 2 o'clock. But meanwhile, you've got me, Butch Maxwell, sitting in for Bill DeFabio here on the Watchdog Network. We've been talking about a variety of things, including what's going on with the GOP and the sort of remarkable embrace that the GOP seems to be making of their loser, of Donald Trump. I remember right after when Rush Limbaugh first came on the air, and I used to, listen in sort of horror. I mean, he was actually funny sometimes, but for all of his other foibles and terrible negative things about Rush Limbaugh, he was occasionally funny. But I remember him calling the loser of I think it was the 1988 election. He said he just called Dukakis the loser, and of course the loser. That's the worst thing you could be to Donald Trump. So I've got to just say this: Donald Trump is a loser, and the Republican Party is embracing a loser. But here's why they may be doing it. It may just make good political sense. In that it's hard to unify when you're out of power, and they are pretty much out of power legislatively and in the executive branch right now, certainly. So the idea might be, okay, well, if we can rally behind Trump, then maybe the numbers will work for us, because usually in the midterm election, after a president from one party has been elected, generally speaking, they lose seats in the House. So that would mean the Democrats would lose seats in the House if it works the way it usually does. And if that happens, then the Republicans can claim that they're no longer losers, and that they are and that the strategy of getting behind Trump actually worked, and this would position Trump to come back in 2024.
Money. They know,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not a well-guarded secret, that he is raising money hand over fist.
Yes.
And even though he had to repay a whole lot of it back because of that little tiny blurb in the bottom of his, Beat the Steel or something.
Yeah.
Websites that you automatically got re-upped for your donation.
Right, yeah.
Every 2 weeks or whatever it was. He did have to repay all that money, but now he has a website from the desk of, and Rick pulled it up yesterday and looked at it. And of course, there's a huge donate button.
Right.
Donate and share.
Yeah.
So that he may not be able to get on Facebook, but followers can retweet or reshare.
Right.
Whatever he says. So yeah, they all know. They know what side of the bread is buttered.
Right.
That didn't come out quite right, but you get.
I know
the
what
idea.
you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's they're afraid of the dollar amount that he can throw at them in a primary if they don't kowtow to what he wants done.
Yeah, and they do have in the primary too. That you're right in bringing that up too, because in a primary too, that it tends to be they generally tend to be victorious for the one who is the most extreme candidate, because generally speaking, especially in the Republican Party, those are the most likely voters, and of course, part of the general midterm strategy is, of course, is to get an aggravated or an agitated voter base. We're angry, we're mad as hell about something, And so I think this is what the House Minority Leader McCarthy is thinking of, along with, of course, you're right, the money. That's huge. There were other opportunities to go different ways, but it doesn't seem to be working that way. Former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie started to praise Trump's presidency after criticizing him at first, right after his loss. Senator Joseph Hawley of Missouri is refusing to apologize for raising his fist in tribute to the Trump crowds on Capitol Hill right before the insurrection. And even a former U.S. ambassador to the United Nations and South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley, who was seen as a possible force for a post-Trump renewal and return to more traditional GOP, Nikki Haley has said that she won't run in 2024 if Trump does. So just the vacuum alone might be enough,
Everybody saw how nasty he was during the primaries and then during the general election campaigns. Why would you put yourself and your family through that?
Yeah.
I mean, to oppose him. You're just asking for grief.
Yes. Yeah. You are. And, you're putting a target on your back.
Yeah.
And, it's oddly enough, and this may be just what he's saying publicly, but President Biden is acting a little mystified about what's going on with the Republican Party. He said, "I don't understand the Republicans." When asked about the effort by Trump loyalists to eject Liz Cheney, Biden has had a civil relationship with Cheney. They don't agree on much, because Liz Cheney is a bona fide conservative. She's very definitely a conservative, and Biden is certainly less so. He's kind of a moderate Democrat, but he seems like he doesn't really quite get it. But I think that might also be just his public posture, because you do say some things publicly when privately you may be, thinking a little more politically strategic in a strategic manner. But Mitch McConnell, who is now the Senate Minority Leader, has said something that reminds me a lot of what he said during the Barack Obama administration. He said, 100% of my focus is on stopping this new administration.
Yeah. That very first day of the Obama administration, he came right out and said that.
Yeah, try to make sure he was a one-term president.
Yep.
Oh, guess what? Again, Mitch McConnell, loser. Okay, he won a second term, but that's incredible to me. I mean, that your whole political purpose, is to obstruct. Wouldn't it be better to say, can we find any common ground? Is there anything we can agree on? Can we agree that these bridges are falling apart, so we need an infrastructure plan? You want to spend $7 trillion on it, Mr. Biden, and I want to spend $500,000. So let's figure out the difference here and come up with a plan. I know that it seems daunting, but I still want to believe that it's possible to govern in this country by compromise and negotiation and sort of working together on things. And that doesn't mean that I don't think we should throw out the filibuster, because guess what? The filibuster is not in the Constitution. It's originalist. It has nothing to do with that. And that's a whole other topic, I suppose. But whether or
That
not
would be my question to Biden.
Mm-hmm.
You ran as a moderate, as a reconciler,
Right.
And now you're allowing, at least publicly, for the progressive wing, which is very small, to sort of dictate to you what is going to be in these bills, instead of just trying really hard to come up with some kind of a compromise. What the Republicans are asking with this infrastructure bill, to me, is not unreasonable at all. Yes, I agree. There are social issues that really do need to be fixed. I hate omnibus bills because they're just absolutely ridiculous when you don't like something that is in a bill, so you want to vote no for it, but you can't because it's a military spending bill.
Right.
So you're damned if you do and damned if you
Which
don't.
is what
Omnibus.
means.
Yeah.
Right.
Take them for what they are. Take your I forget what term they're using for this, traditional infrastructure.
Yeah,
bill.
traditional infrastructure,
Take
which you think
that.
of as roads and bridges
and get it done.
airports.
Get
Yep.
people back to work
Right.
with good paying construction jobs. And then you want to tackle child care, which is completely out of control in
It
this
is.
country.
It is. It's-
Along with drug prices and things like that. But take those individually, because those are things that you can work on later. I know they want to get all this done because they're terrified they're going to lose the House in
Right.
22.
Right. That's
But-
the entire strategy.
Yes.
But they're not really. You're right in that. I think they're probably not dealing honestly here.
No,
They're putting in their big dream package, and that's been the criticism, is that it's a wish list for Democrats and.
Progressive Democrat.
But I don't know. I mean, maybe so. And maybe it's just because I tend to be progressive again. So I think, it's not all that progressive. It's not the Green New Deal. It's not, all that. But it is. It probably is a bit more to the left than what we might have expected from Joe Biden.
Well,
His contention, though, is we need bold moves right now in a lot of directions. And
We need a move.
Yeah.
Don't worry about the bold. Just get something moving.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah, and I think also too, there's this feeling that on the left side of the aisle on this is that if we settle for less, we'll never get if we settle for something that's small, we're not going to get the big package. That's never going to happen. They're just going to say, well, we gave you that, So I don't know, but that's fine. That's all part of normal negotiation, and that's what should be happening here. But it doesn't look like it is. It's either going to be all put together into a bill that the Democrats can procedurally pass with just Democrat votes, or they're going to change the procedure to get it through.
Yeah.
But one way or the other, I think they're determined to make these bold moves, and I don't disagree with much of any of them. I think there are a few that are kind of crazy, but I do think that it's disingenuous, as you said, to put these into a big omnibus kind of all-inclusive. We're going to call child care infrastructure. Well, let's be honest about it. It's not. And I guess maybe it's called the American Families Act, I think, which is so maybe that is a little bit more straightforward branding. But,
I don't know how many acts are in this thing. There's the Jobs Act.
Right.
The Family Act.
Yeah.
The Recovery Act. The Infrastructure Act. Well, I don't like to sit in a theater through 5 or 6 acts.
Right.
period,
Right. Yeah, well,
So
I have to say,
I
we
just
got 3
I'm
acts,
just
2 of them
disappointed.
unnatural. So
I'm just disappointed in the approach that they have taken. The
Yeah.
COVID relief bill was one thing.
Yeah.
You needed to get that done and get it through. And if, people are going to drag their feet, then go ahead with the reconciliation way of doing it. But now,
Yeah.
and I'll tell you, Joe Manchin's got some clout now.
Oh, he does. He certainly does.
And I'm curious to see. I mean, right now it's all, well, I'm not, it's going to be traditional infrastructure, blah, 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 blah. But when push comes to shove, where he's going to fall,
Yeah.
will he be the Democratic Mitt Romney? that really bucked the party, back
Yeah.
against
Yeah.
Trump?
Yeah.
Or will he kind of fall in line too? I don't know. It's just curious.
It is, and it'll be interesting to see too, what his principles are, and then how firmly he holds by those principles when it comes to some of these spending things. I think we kind of know where his principles are. He's been, he's on the record out there, and I think his principles do mostly pretty well line up with the moderate wing of the Democratic Party.
Yeah, they do.
But he's not been especially effective with the, say, gun control initiative. That I think it was a great one. I think he really tried to get something happening, and it did not work in his favor. So now he's in the you're right. He's in the position of actually having real power, and but it's not the kind of real power that I think is going to benefit the state of West Virginia, like Senator Byrd's real power back way back in the day.
All of that.
Yeah.
Was what was so nice.
All that pork. Oh boy. Yeah.
Well, you know what? Everybody deserves some bacon.
I guess so.
Everything's better with bacon.
It is, and even somebody who tries not to eat such stuff. Yeah, it is good. I like bacon. Hey, coming up a little bit later, we're going to be talking about the moratorium on evicting renters and what's happening in Wheeling. Some interesting live performances coming up both over the summer and right this coming weekend. Some things to think about. There's stuff to do out there if you've been vaccinated, especially. Get out and go to a restaurant. Enjoy, the life around Wheeling. We have it pretty good here, and it's going to get better. So I'll tell you about some things you might want to consider coming up right after we take the news break. You're listening to The Watchdog, the variety show, normally with Bill DeFabio. Butch Maxwell sitting in today, and we'll be right back.
Watchdog is FM 98.1 W251CY, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7 W249DU, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
The ABC News is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. President Biden heading to the Big Easy today, part of his latest push for his infrastructure plan. Still a hard sell, though, for Republicans.
President Biden travels to Lake Charles, Louisiana, to speak in front of a 70-year-old bridge that the White House says is in poor condition, 20 years past its design lifespan and in need of urgent repairs. The president will use the bridge to push for his $2.3 trillion infrastructure plan, which includes $115 billion to fix bridges, highways, and roads across the nation. The White House wants Congress to make major progress on legislation by Memorial Day, with the goal of getting a bill passed by summer. Republicans have said they can't support an infrastructure plan this broad, and they don't want to see corporate tax rates increase to pay for it. Karen Travers, ABC News, Washington.
New details about Moderna's booster shots and the COVID-19 vaccines boost to the company's bottom line.
Moderna's COVID-19 vaccine generated $1.7 billion in first quarter revenue. The vaccine and others have helped slow the spread of the virus. Now, Moderna's chief executive, Dr. Stephen Hoag, told ABC News a preliminary study showed booster shots are working.
Not only can we boost people's immunity back up and keep it high during the pandemic, but also that we can specifically boost it up against some of the new variants of concern.
Moderna also announced its vaccine is 96% effective in adolescents 12 to 17. Aaron Katersky, ABC News, New York.
In Rigby, Idaho, several people injured and a suspect in custody following a shooting incident at Rigby Middle School about an hour outside Idaho Falls.
According to local reports, somebody opened fire at Rigby Middle School in Rigby, Idaho, the district calling it a worst nightmare. The alleged shooter has been arrested. There is no longer a threat. 2 students and 1 adult reportedly have non-life-threatening injuries. Police and ambulances have been on scene. Students have been evacuated to the local high school.
Police say there's still no known motive. ABC's Alex Stone reporting. You're listening to ABC News.
The IRS doesn't mess around. If they want your money, they'll take it. They can take your paycheck and bank accounts too, even threaten your home or business. Don't take on the IRS alone. If you owe back taxes, the smartest thing you can do is call Optima Tax Relief. The experts at Optima specialize in a powerful IRS tax assistance program called the Fresh Start Initiative. And their clients that qualify are saving thousands, even tens of thousands. One call starts the process to stop the demand letters, stop aggressive collection actions, and stop the IRS from targeting you. But don't delay. It's important to act now while you still have options. Optima is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. Optima has already resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Get your life back. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima now for your free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken has left Ukraine after meeting with the country's president in a show of support against Russia's incursion. ABC News White House correspondent Mary Alice Parks is on the ground in Ukraine.
The diplomatic conversations here today between the Secretary of State and the Ukrainian ministers sound eerily familiar from the Cold War. You have the United States trying to stand with a young democracy, knowing full well it is a fragile democracy, but pushing this message that only through democracy and strong institutions can they build a strong security buffer against Russia.
A Colorado man is due in court today, charged in his wife's murder. Barry Morphew last year pleaded for her safe return after she was reported missing last Mother's Day.
For weeks, search and rescue teams scoured the area. According to her family, the only sign of her was her bike and an unspecified personal item. And though her body has not been recovered, the Chaffee County Sheriff's Office says she is believed to be dead, and there are no other arrests expected.
ABC's TJ Holmes. Pfizer and BioNTech are donating coronavirus vaccine to jab athletes getting ready for the Tokyo Olympics. Dose deliveries set to begin this month, giving delegations time to get fully vaccinated before the games open July 23rd. China also distributing vaccines bought by the Olympics ahead of the games and next year's Beijing Winter Games. This is ABC News.
Microban 24 protects against Staphylococcus aureus and Enterobacter aerogenes bacteria, but does not provide 24-hour protection against viruses. Every time you touch a surface, you leave behind bacteria. Use Microban 24 sanitizing spray to keep surfaces sanitized all day. Spray on hard surfaces to kill 99.9% of bacteria and viruses initially, including the virus that causes COVID-19. Microban 24 keeps killing bacteria for 24 hours, touch after touch. When used as directed, Microban 24, touch after touch, it doesn't give up.
Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
This is ONN. Some business owners